This is page 90, number 2, the one at the bottom. Again, I'll go through the process. Now, if you're actually trying to just read these, then you're going to do pretty much all the steps in the process I use all at the same time. You're just going to do them all at once. So you're going to get the fingering and the notes and the rhythm and the articulation and the dynamics and the speed right off the bat. It's called sight reading. Sight reading is a skill. Like any skill, you got to practice it. The more you practice it, the better you get at it. So I encourage sight reading. If you want, try sight reading these. You can always go back later and then go through the process and try and actually understand what's going on. But I'm going to still do the process and then this. I'm not going to sight read it. I look it over. It's 2 lines long. And even if you're going to sight read it, you're going to do this first part anyway. I'm going to look it over. I want to check the clef signs, the key signature, the time signature. I'm going to look at all that stuff. But then when I go to do it, I'm going to try and just do it all. Treble bass clef, 2 flats in the key signature. So it's either in the key of B flat major or G minor, because those are the 2. The B's and E's are flatted. This, you look at the end. Ending on G with finger in G minor. And you think, wait a minute, what's these F sharps doing here? I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to talk about that a little bit. What are these F sharps doing here? They're not in the key. I mentioned briefly in a previous video that I use on the scales, I use the harmonic minor scales. Because there's different kinds of minor scales. The natural minor scales, which we've been doing here so far, is you use the notes in the key signature. Well, in harmonic minor, you take the 7th step of the scale and you raise it a half step. For instance, if I go to A minor is all the white keys. But if I want to do the harmonic minor, I'm not going to do the 7th step up. So the 7th step is 1 less than 8. And 8 steps here, so 7th would be the G. So instead of a G, I'm going to do a G sharp. That's the one that's used the most in music. There is another one, I'll talk about that later. But that's what these F sharps are doing. We're in G minor, and you'll notice the 7th step in G minor is an F. Well, they're raising it up a half step, that's all. And that's what it is. You'll see it a lot in minor keys. You'll see the 7th step raised. Not always, don't have to, but you used to. And 2/4 time. So did I mention this is in G minor? I don't remember. Let's go on, 2/4 time. Now we have these triplets. They've stuck. Did you notice the triplets? You think, oh, is this in 6/8 time because they're beaming 3/8 notes together? No, it's a 4/4. It's a 2/4 time. They're triplets. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a, or triple, however you need to keep it straight. But the 3 notes of the triplet and the note after the triplet, 4 notes total, need to be even. And that's the challenge. So 1 hand at a time now. Let's make sure we got this going on. The right hand is here. Don't forget the B flat. It's in the key signature. And it's 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1. Now we got straight 8th notes. 1 and 2 and. And this bit about going back and forth between triple and duple counting. Triple is when you have triplets, and duple is when it's just 2s. 1 and 2 and. Piano players get this a lot. It's a lot of piano music. And we actually get good at it after a while because you get used to doing it. I've noticed in band and orchestra that the other instrumentalists, when they get this kind of thing, they struggle going back and forth. They can do one or the other, but they can't keep switching. Well, piano players do. And that's important. So in the second measure, you have triplets, and then suddenly you're in 1 and 2 and. 2 and 1. Keep the beat in the steady beat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. The beat is steady. I'm just playing the triplet a little bit faster. So this is a challenge here. Left hand's half notes. You're here. You'd be in this position for the hand position because the E flat's in the key signature, but we're going to use F sharps. But I'm just going to move my finger to F sharp. You could use this hand position if you want, because all the F's here are sharped. And it's 1, 2. This is what we're doing in the left hand. Is this exciting or what? Okay, let's put the hands together then. It's here. And again, those 4 notes, 3 notes in the triplet, even. Bum, 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 bum. Those, they got to be even. If you go, that's not a triplet, or that's not a triplet, or that's not a triplet. They got to be even. That's a triplet. Now once I have that figured out, I go through and make sure I got no hesitations. I can play this without looking at the keyboard. And then I add the articulation, which they don't give any. Isn't that nice? Well, it leaves it wide open. You can do anything you want. I could play them staccato if I wanted to. I could or some staccato. It's entirely up to me. The music doesn't say anything. The default for today's environment is you connect everything. Then if you want to play around and experiment with it and see what you like, that's fine. For this lesson, I'm going to connect them. And if I can figure out where the phrases are, I could lift up between the phrases. The problem is, in this case, the phrase is here. Or I could do, maybe just the first measure is a phrase. Lift up. It's hard to tell where the phrase is. I think kind of the first line is a phrase, but I don't want to lift up at the end of the line because these notes at the end of the first line lead into it. And when that happens, I connect them. So here, there might be 2 phrases, but I'm going to connect the phrases together. I'm going to connect. It's called an elided phrase. When you have 2 phrases that are connected, you play it as one phrase, but you still feel it as 2 sentences, 2 thoughts. It's like measure 5, that G, that ends the first phrase and starts the second phrase, the same note, whatever, okay. Dynamic is F, loud, that's the melody, that's the right hand. For the left hand, needs to be in the background, kind of light. Yeah. And then the speed is moderato, is about whatever. Now, it kind of depends in music on the speeds as to what's in the piece. Because when you have a lot of little notes that are going quick, the overall speed is going to slow way down. See, the first one was just quarter notes and half notes. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. But when I have triplets and eighth notes, that may slow that moderato down just a little bit. It's not necessarily the speed of the beat, it's the overall feel. I want a moderate feel to this. That's 1, 2, that's more like an andante here. Moderato would 1, 2, 1, 2. So where is it? I don't know. Pick one. Somewhere, maybe in between them somewhere. Just the more you have divided up beats, the slower the overall piece is probably going to go. Because the speed needs to be to the feel of the piece. That may or may not apply to the beat. Now they're telling you underneath here to transpose this to A minor. So instead of here, we're going to go to A minor. A minor is just up one here, and instead of here, we're in G minor where the thumb is. Well, that's going to be an A. Here. See? same fingers. I'm just playing in the different position, and I'm playing the notes in that key. You could go to most any key you wanted to. Let's play this together slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm going to play both hands about the same here. I'm not doing the dynamics. I'll give us 2 counts because it's in 2/4 time. And we'll go, well, the eighth notes might go a little quicker than the triplets and so forth, but it's slow for me, so let's try it. Ready and go, and 1 and 2.